You've been a boy and a girl.
I guess.
What's it like?
Well, I don't know. You kind of have an image of what being a boy and being a girl is like, but when you actually experience it, it's very different.
If you're uncomfortable, but you've grown breasts, haven't you, as a result of the hormone therapy that you were being given?
Yeah, so I just started developing like a girl would, and which was the thing that I wanted at that time, but now that's not so helpful.
Ali is Patrick's mother. She moved to London with him a month ago to give him a fresh start. But before he goes to school here in England, she's taking drastic action to have her young son's breasts surgically reduced.
Took you on that when you were little anyway.
Ali wants to warn other parents what can go wrong when doctors misdiagnose a child as transgender.
They were wrong to pigeonhole him so quickly. I think they should have said, here we have a child who does have gender dysphoria and he's going through a period of transition where he needs to work out exactly how he feels.
I think we have to acknowledge there are a lot of children who are confused about their gender identity as a normal phase that they would go through. It's not uncommon to be confused. The good news is they're going to grow out of it. Don't mess them up.
Sydney paediatrician Professor John Whitehall says the numbers of children being treated with gender dysphoria in Australia are currently skyrocketing. It's a condition where a person is born one gender, but in their mind, they're another.
You don't accept that the true levels of gender dysphoria are as high as appear to be being diagnosed at the moment?
No, I don't. I've never seen it, and I think it's much rarer than the current reports would suggest.
Single mum Ali Mitchell has always known her little boy was different.
Even when he was young, 3 and 4, he would dress up in girls' clothes, and at one stage he did say to me that could he be taken to the doctor to be made into a girl.
At first, Ali dismissed it as just a phase. But when Patrick turned 12, he made a startling confession that turned both their lives upside down.
He said to me that, yes, I really identify as a girl and I don't feel like the boys around me. So it was at that point that I said to him, well, we need to take some expert advice on this. I slept on the floor next to his bed in the room. You become very worried about what's going to happen to a child in the night. He would have panic attacks.
What was he saying to you?
He said that if he couldn't get on the puberty blockers, that he would either run away and find a way to get them himself or kill himself.
So how much vanilla?
Just 1 teaspoon.
But it's what Ali did next that's alarming. Australian law currently says kids need to wait until they're 16 and have court approval to begin hormone replacement therapy. But Ali allowed Patrick to take her own estrogen medication from the age of just 13.
Was that a tough decision for you?
It was a very tough decision.
I mean, there's no turning back at that point, really, is there? It's quite dramatic, what you're about to do.
So our motivation for second stage treatment was really that Patrick was growing very tall and very broad. And one thing that estrogen will do is halt the bone growth to more of a girl pattern of growth. So we were wanting to fuse his bone growth so that we could reduce his height a little bit and also soften his features.
It's this decision that's most controversial, because the changes to Patrick's body are permanent.
There is no proof that this is going to work. You think that their emotional problems are going to get better by giving them estrogen? Fine. That's called optimism. It's not called scientific method. So I think the whole thing is experimental in that sense.
So how are you feeling about everything?
Ali was prepared to take that risk to help her son become her daughter. But earlier this year, Patrick, now 14, stunned his family with a dramatic decision.
He wasn't sleeping, and I said to him, are you anxious about something? Is something on your mind? And he just looked me in the eye and said, I'm just not sure that I am a girl.
I'm not sure I understand. Like, one minute you're really convinced you're a girl.
Yeah.
And then you think, well, I'm happier being male.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what happened?
I guess I just realized that I could be happy without completely changing who I am.
People are not interested in discussing the science. We've all got to believe that there's no such thing as a boy or a girl, that we're all somewhere in between. Now, I don't believe that.
Professor Whitehall has been pilloried by some in the transgender community for arguing that the vast majority of children diagnosed with gender dysphoria aren't actually transgender at all.
The good news is that in all the major articles, these children will revert to the natal sex through puberty. What we should do then is have confidence in the statistics and not mess the child up along the way.
Can you understand, though, that if a child is genuinely gender dysphoric, it's incredibly distressing for that child to go into puberty?
I can understand that, yes. And so that's the good news. The good news is, statistically, this child is going to grow out of it.
Now that Patrick's sure of his male gender, there's one last thing he needs to take care of. Surgery to reduce the breasts he developed while taking his mum's estrogen medication.
How important is the surgery?
I think it's probably the final step in getting me back to being normal.
So what are you looking forward to doing?
I guess I look forward to being able to not have to wear baggy clothes and being able to go swimming and play sports.
The surgery is so controversial, Patrick and his mum will need to travel to South Korea, one of the few countries where doctors are willing to perform such a procedure on a 14-year-old boy.
Are you ready for anything now?
To see your child smiling, he's so happy, and he's confident now.
Any regrets?
I don't have any regrets. You don't make any of these decisions lightly along the way. I'm sorry that he was confused and for the dark times, but I'm really happy with who he is today.